Hello, and welcome to my Creepypasta scary story reading of The One from Deep Below. In the summer of 1975, Beth and friends Jenna, Paul, and Steve arrived at the tiny beach town of Stoneport, New Jersey. Unlike the bustling tourist spots flanking it, Stoneport seemed almost forgotten by time and eerily quiet, with wide open beaches and no visitors in sight. The locals were strange, a little too friendly when it suited them, distant when any question was asked about the town. The mayor himself laid down one rule the day the kids arrived: no one walks on the beach at night. The four teens were lifeguards for the summer, tasked with watching over the beach. Though most of the town came to lay in the sand each day, none ever ventured into the water. Without much work to be done, the teens spent their days lounging in the sun and their nights drinking under the stars. Stoneport may have been dead, but it was their playground. The town was quite well off, as each morning the fishermen returned with their nets full, and every night they locked their doors tight before dusk fell. Late one evening, after a rowdy party in a neighboring town, the four friends found themselves back at their beach, buzzed from cheap beer and high on summer air, and many more things. Paul suggested a late night swim. "We're not supposed to be out here," Beth warned, feeling a cold tingle crawl up her spine as they approached the moonlight shoreline. Steve laughed it off. "Come on, Beth. Don't tell me you believe in towny ghost stories." Before anyone could argue further, Jenna gasped and pointed to something just ahead in the wet sand. A large seafoam-colored egg glowed faintly under the moon, casting an eerie shimmer on the waves lapping at the shore. "What the hell's that?" Paul murmured, leaning down to touch it. Beth shivered. "Leave it. It's probably some animals, and we shouldn't mess with it." But Steve's curiosity was too strong. "We'll take it back. It's safer with us than out here in the open." He hefted the egg, surprisingly light for its size. Beth wanted to protest, but something about the eerie calm of the night silenced her. They brought the egg back to the small house they shared, tucking it away like a prize. That night, Beth woke to a sound that froze her blood. A high-pitched, keening scream that echoed through the streets. Half asleep, she glanced toward the window and saw dark, wet footprints glistening on the pavement outside. The heavy squelch of waterlogged footsteps echoed faintly, but exhaustion tugged her back into an unconsciousness. The next morning, Beth and her friends walked to the beach, their laughter fading into confusion as they walked. The streets were slick and slimy, despite there being no rain. When they arrived at the shore, the destruction was undeniable. The lifeguard chair was shattered into splinters, and the beach itself was torn apart. Massive holes in the sand as if something had clawed its way through. A crowd of townsfolk on the boardwalk whispered anxiously. Only one fisherman had returned from their early morning trip. His face was pale and his eyes hollow. "They're all dead," he rasped. "Killed by the one from deep below." Paul stepped forward first. Who is the one from deep below?" Silence fell like a dead weight. The mayor, a man who had always seemed too cheerful, finally spoke, his face grim. "She is our protector, a goddess of the deep, who has been with this town since its founding. We made a deal with her. Stay out of the water, stay off the beach at night, and she'll keep our nets full. But in return, we must let her bring her egg to shore to bathe in the moonlight each and every night. She's lost what is hers." The weight of their mistake hit Beth like a tidal wave. What happens if she doesn't get it back? The mayor's expression darkened. She will come again, until she has it. Panic set in. The four friends debated whether to confess or flee, but when they tried to leave town, they found the roads were flooded, the way out cut off by a rising tide at the wrong time of day. Was it the work of the one from deep below? They wondered. We have to return the egg, Beth urged. It's the only way. That night, the town shut itself inside. Windows dark, doors barred, as if waiting for a storm to pass. The four of them, trembling with fear, took the egg back to the beach. As they ran, a chilling scream tore through the night. A high-pitched noise sent a chill up each of their spines. They could hear the squelching footsteps of the night before from a street over. As they crossed the boardwalk, Beth felt a shove at her back, sending her crashing into the sand. Beth turned to see Paul lifted into the air, held by a figure too dark to fully see. A slick, webbed hand grabbed his throat, and with a sickening gurgle, the creature filled his lungs with seawater. His body slumped lifeless as it was tossed aside. "Run!" Steve shouted, grabbing Beth's arm. But before they made it halfway to the shore, Jenna's scream pierced the night. Cut short as the creature dragged her into the darkness. Just as Beth moved to the shore, her path was blocked. Jenna's severed arm landed in front of Beth. Breathless, Beth and Steve finally reached the shoreline. Steve hurriedly placed the egg down, and as if it knew, just then, the two survivors watched in horror as the creature emerged fully from the waves. A monstrous, humanoid figure with slick, dark skin, eyes that glowed a distant yellow, and tendrils that twisted from its head like seaweed. It scooped the egg tenderly into its arms. Before they could react, the creature's hand shot out, grabbing Steve's leg. Beth watched, paralyzed with fear, as Steve screamed, dragged beneath the surface, his body swallowed by the sea. Beth turned to run, but the townsfolk were waiting for her on the boardwalk, their faces expressionless. "We returned the egg," she cried, her voice shaking. "It's over, isn't it?" The mayor stepped forward, his voice low. "We left a detail out of the deal. At the end of every summer, the egg will hatch, to take its mother's place in the cycle, and the young must feed. Why do you think we employ you all to watch a beach where no one swims?" the mayor concluded. As the crowd closed in, Beth screamed. Her pleas were drowned out by the crashing waves, the sound of the ocean claiming her as its final sacrifice. In the summer of 1976, 4 new friends arrived in Stoneport, excited for their lifeguard jobs, unaware of the ancient cycle that awaited them. And that's our story of the one from deep below. I do hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys are liking my take on creepypasta, scary stories. If you are, please do like and subscribe. It means a lot to me and the channel, and just to see the community grow. I'll see you next time. Bye.